4. The terrifying mortuary stories that will haunt you tonight. I found my supervisor eating something in the embalming room at 3 a.m., and when he turned around, I saw my own face staring back at me from the gurney. Story 1. The Night Shift. Marcus Webb's account. My name is Joseph Webb, and I took a job at Riverside Mortuary because the pay was double what anyone else would offer for overnight work. I was desperate, drowning in student debt, and figured dead people were better company than my last boss anyway. The first 2 weeks were normal. I'd sanitize equipment, file paperwork, and occasionally help the embalmers prepare bodies for viewings. The dead don't bother me. They're quiet, predictable, and they never complain. Then I met Raymond. Raymond was the senior mortician, a thin man with hollow cheeks who'd worked there for 30 years. He had this habit of humming while he worked, old hymns that echoed through the basement hallways. Nice guy. Kept to himself, always left before midnight, except one Thursday. He didn't. I was organizing the cold storage units around 3 a.m. when I heard that humming. I froze. Raymond's car wasn't in the parking lot. I'd checked when I took my break. I walked toward the embalming room, each step slower than the last. The door was cracked open. Through the gap, I saw Raymond hunched over a gurney, his back to me. He was eating something, making wet, smacking sounds that turned my stomach. The humming had stopped. "Raymond?" My voice cracked. "I thought you left." He went still, completely, unnaturally still. Then his head rotated, just his head, while his body stayed facing away. And I was staring at my own face. My eyes, my nose, my exact expression of terror frozen on someone else's skull. I ran. I didn't stop running until I was in my car, doors locked, hands shaking so hard I could barely get the key in the ignition. When I looked back at the building, Raymond was standing in the window of the embalming room, wearing my face, waving slowly. I called in sick for 3 days. When I finally came back, everyone acted like nothing had happened. Raymond was there, wearing his own face, humming his hymns. He smiled at me and said, "Glad you're feeling better, Marcus. You looked a little pale last week." But here's the thing. I checked the security footage from that night. From 2:45 a.m. to 4:30 a.m., the cameras showed nothing but static. And in cold storage unit 7, the one I'd been standing right next to, there's a body tagged with my name and today's date. It's still there. I see it every night I work. And last Tuesday, when I got brave enough to unzip the bag, the body inside looked exactly like me, except it was smiling. Its eyes were open, and it was smiling at me. I quit the next day. But when I got home, there was a message on my mirror, written in condensation. "You can't quit what you've already become." Story 2. The Visitor. Jennifer Torres' account. I'm a grief counselor, and part of my job is visiting funeral homes to check on families during their darkest hours. Pinewood Memorial was always my least favorite stop. Something about the place felt wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Then I met the Hendersons. Their daughter, Amy, had died in her sleep at 19. Sudden cardiac arrest. The family was destroyed, and Mrs. Henderson insisted on a private viewing before the funeral. The director, a man named Gerald, with skin like old paper, tried to discourage her. "Sometimes it's better to remember them as they were," he said in this oily voice that made my skin crawl. But Mrs. Henderson was adamant, so Gerald finally agreed. I accompanied the family to the viewing room, ready to provide support. The girl in the casket wasn't Amy Henderson. She was close, same age, same general build, same dark hair. But the nose was wrong. The jawline was different. And Amy had a small scar above her left eyebrow from a childhood fall. This girl's face was unmarked. "Mom, that's not..." Amy's younger brother started, but his father grabbed his arm hard enough to bruise. "Don't," Mr. Henderson whispered, his face sheet white. "Just don't." Mrs. Henderson stood there, staring at the wrong girl in the casket, tears streaming down her face. She was shaking. "Where's my daughter?" she whispered. "Where's Amy?" Gerald appeared behind us like a shadow. "Mrs. Henderson, grief can distort our perceptions, I assure you. Where is my daughter?" She lunged at him, and it took both her husband and me to hold her back. "What did you do with her? What did you do with my baby?" Security escorted us out. The funeral was the next day. Closed casket. The Hendersons looked hollowed out, empty. I couldn't let it go. I went back to Pinewood Memorial that night, after hours. I told myself I was crazy, that grief really does distort perception, that I'd imagined the differences. I picked the lock on the back door. The building was dark, silent. I made my way to the cold storage area, checking toe tags, looking for Amy Henderson. I found her in Unit 12. She was there, perfectly preserved, with that little scar above her eyebrow. But she wasn't alone. The drawer was full of them. Dozens of bodies stacked like firewood, all young, all with the same confused expression frozen on their faces. I heard a sound behind me. Gerald stood there, no longer stooped and elderly. He stood straight, tall, and when he smiled, his teeth were too white, too many. "They never look for the young ones," he said conversationally. "Young deaths are tragedies. Families are so destroyed by grief they can't see straight. They bury who we give them and never ask questions." "Why?" I managed to choke out. "Because youth is currency," he said simply. "And we've been collecting for a very long time." He stepped toward me, and I ran. I made it to my car, drove, straight to the police station. I told them everything. The wrong body, the storage unit, the stacked corpses. They investigated, found nothing. The storage unit was empty. Gerald had no record of employment. According to official documents, Pinewood Memorial had been closed for renovations for the past 6 months. But the Hendersons buried someone. I was there. I saw the casket lowered into the ground. Last week, I saw Amy Henderson at a coffee shop downtown. Same face, same scar, same girl. She was with Gerald laughing at something he said. When she saw me staring, she smiled and waved. Then she mouthed 2 words. "Thank you." I haven't slept since. Because I keep wondering if that was really Amy. Then who did the Hendersons bury? And why did she thank me? Story 3. The Preparation. David Kim's account. I'm a medical examiner, and I performed over 3,000 autopsies in my 15-year career. I've seen everything: murder victims, suicides, accidents, natural deaths. Nothing shakes me anymore. Until I performed an autopsy on myself. It started with a John Doe brought in from a house fire. Burned beyond recognition, no ID, no dental records in the system. Standard procedure: I document everything, try to find some identifying feature, and file him away as unknown. I made the first incision and found something impossible. Inside his chest cavity was a watch. My watch. The one my father gave me when I graduated medical school, with my initials engraved on the back, DK. The one I was wearing on my wrist at that exact moment. I looked down. My watch was still there. I looked back at the body. The watch was still there too. My hand started shaking. I kept going, telling myself there was a rational explanation. Maybe someone had the same watch. Maybe the engraving was different. I pulled it out and read the inscription. To David, with pride. Love, Dad. My exact watch. Impossible. I continued the autopsy, moving on autopilot. Every organ I removed looked familiar, not just anatomically, but specifically. The small scar on the liver from a childhood fall. The slight irregularity in the left kidney I discovered during a routine physical. The old appendectomy scar. This body had my medical history, my injuries, my scars. I was performing an autopsy on myself. I stumbled back from the table. The body's head was turned away from me. Too burned to see the face. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to turn it toward me. But I had to know. I reached out with trembling hands and turned the skull. Through the charred flesh and exposed bone, I could still make out the features. My features, my face, my eyes, clouded and dead, staring up at me. I vomited in the sink. When I turned back, the body was different, not burned anymore, perfectly preserved. It was me, exactly me, right down to the small mole on my left shoulder and the crooked pinky finger I broke in high school. The body's chest started moving, rising and falling, breathing. Its eyes swiveled toward me. Its mouth opened. You're late, it said in my voice. We were supposed to switch at midnight. I've been waiting for hours. What are you talking about? Switch what? Switch places. It sat up on the table, moving stiffly, like it was remembering how bodies work. That's how it happens. You can't have two of the same person in the same timeline. Creates problems, paradoxes. So one has to die while the other takes their place. You're not real. You're not. I'm more real than you are. It slid off the table, standing on unsteady legs. You died in that house fire, David. 3 days ago. I'm your replacement. But you didn't cross over like you were supposed to. You stayed. And now, we're both here, and that's against the rules. This is insane. I'm going crazy. Check your pulse. I pressed my fingers to my throat. Nothing. No heartbeat. No pulse. No breath. You've been dead for 3 days, the other me said. You just didn't notice. People rarely do. They keep going through the motions, performing their routines, until the replacement catches up. Then they have to choose. Choose what? Who gets to keep living? It smiled, and the expression was wrong on my face. Too knowing, too old. We can't both exist. So either you let go and move on to wherever the dead go, or... It gestured to the autopsy tools on the counter. Or you make me let go instead. I looked at the scalpels, the bone saw, the instruments I'd used thousands of times. The other me followed my gaze. Fair warning, it said. I've done this before. Lots of times. You're not the first David Kim, and you won't be the last. We replace ourselves every few decades. Keep the life going. Avoid suspicion. You're just the expired model. I grabbed a scalpel. It grabbed one too. We circled each other in the autopsy room. 2 identical people, one living and one dead, fighting for the right to exist. I don't remember who won. I just remember pain and blood and the sound of my own voice screaming. Now I'm back at work, performing autopsies, going through my routine. But sometimes I catch my reflection in the steel of the autopsy table, and it's doing something different than I am, moving a half-second too slow, smiling when I'm not. And every morning, I check my chest for the incision I might have made, or that might have been made on me. Some days it's there, some days it's not. I don't know which version of me survived that night. I don't know if I'm the original or the replacement. All I know is that somewhere in the city morgue, filed away as John Doe, there's a body with my face. And every night, when I'm alone, I hear it knocking on the inside of the drawer trying to get out. Story 4. The Collection. Patricia Hayes' account, I clean funeral homes. It's not glamorous work, but it's steady, and the dead don't care if you missed a spot. I've been doing this for 20 years, working my way through every mortuary in the county. Whitman and Sons was my last stop on Friday nights. Big place, old money, families that had been using them for generations. The owner, Mr. Whitman III, was particular about his cleaning schedule. Always wanted me there between 2 and 5 a.m. when the building was empty. Respect for the deceased, he'd say. They deserve peace and quiet. I thought it was weird, but the pay was good. So I didn't argue. 3 weeks ago, I dropped my phone behind one of the casket displays in the showroom. When I bent down to get it, I found a door I'd never noticed before. Just a small panel in the wall, no handle, painted the same color as the baseboards. I pressed on it, and it swung open. Behind it was a staircase going down, way down. I shined my phone's flashlight into the darkness, but the light didn't reach the bottom. Just stairs descending into nothing. I should have closed it, should have left it alone. But 20 years of cleaning has taught me one thing. Hidden spaces always need cleaning too. That's where the real dirt accumulates. I went down. The stairs went on forever, at least 100 feet, maybe more. My phone's battery was at 60% when I started. It was at 20% by the time I reached the bottom. The room below was massive, cathedral-sized, and every inch of wall space was covered in photographs. Thousands of them, tens of thousands. All funeral photos, people in caskets, dressed in their best clothes, hands folded, faces peaceful, spanning decades, maybe centuries. Some were daguerreotypes, ancient and fading. Others were Polaroids. The newest were printed on glossy photo paper. But here's what made my blood run cold. Every single person in every single photo had their eyes open, not the half-lidded, sunken look of the dead. Fully open, alert, looking directly at the camera. I walked along the walls, my phone's flashlight illuminating face after face. All of them staring, all of them seeing. Then I found my mother. She died 6 years ago. Whitman and Sons had handled the funeral. I'd cleaned this very building the night before her service, mopping the floors while she lay upstairs in cold storage. But there she was, on the wall, in her blue dress, in her casket, with her eyes wide open and looking right at me. I touched the photograph with shaking fingers. It was warm, and under my fingertip, I felt it move. The paper's shifting like skin, like something was pressing back from the other side. Beautiful, isn't it? I spun around. Mr. Whitman stood at the bottom of the stairs, his hands clasped behind his back, smiling pleasantly. The collection has been in my family for 8 generations, he continued, walking toward me. Every funeral we've ever conducted, every soul we've ever served, we keep them all. My mother is honored to be part of it. They all are. He gestured to the walls. Death is so final, so lonely. We didn't think that was fair. So we found a way to keep people, not their bodies. Those decay, return to dust. But this, he tapped a photograph. This is forever. You're insane. I'm a preservationist. His smile never wavered. And you're going to help me. You've been cleaning this building for 5 months now, breathing its air, touching its walls. You're already part of it, Patricia. You just haven't realized it yet. I ran for the stairs, but my legs wouldn't work right. They felt heavy, stiff, like they were forgetting how to be legs. I collapsed halfway up. Mr. Whitman stood over me, still smiling. Don't fight it. The building has already claimed you. Every funeral home does this eventually. The grief soaks into the walls, the sadness feeds the foundation. We just learned how to direct it, how to harvest it. My phone fell from my hand. The screen cracked. In the broken glass, I saw my reflection. I was fading, becoming transparent, two-dimensional. Don't worry, Mr. Whitman said softly. You'll have excellent company. Your mother's right there on the wall. You can be together again. Forever. I woke up in my car outside Whitman and Sons at 5:30 a.m., my cleaning supplies still packed, no memory of going inside. My phone was fully charged. There was no door behind the casket display when I checked. But when I got home and looked in the mirror, something was wrong. I looked flat, like a photograph, like I had no depth. And yesterday, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a photograph of me, lying in a casket, wearing my favorite dress, the one I'd told my daughter I wanted to be buried in. My eyes were open in the photo, staring, seeing. On the back, in elegant script, someone had written, "The collection is never complete. See you soon, Amas." Writing this because I need someone to know. I'm going back to Whitman and Sons tonight. I have to. Something is pulling me there, calling me down to that room beneath the building. I can feel myself becoming flatter, thinner, less real with each passing hour. Soon, I'll be nothing but an image, a memory, a photograph on a wall. But here's what terrifies me most. I went to my mother's grave this morning. Her stone was there, marking the plot where she should be buried. I had them dig it up. I needed to know. The casket was empty. Whatever Whitman and Sons buries in their plots, it isn't bodies. It's just empty boxes, going into the ground while the real remains, the real souls, stay trapped in photographs in the dark. And now, looking at my hands as I type this, I can see through them. I can see the keyboard beneath my fingers. I'm fading, becoming the photograph I saw. The pull is stronger now. I have to go. I have to go down those stairs, into that room, and take my place on the wall next to my mother. But if you're reading this, understand something. Every funeral home has a collection. Every single one. They've just gotten very good at hiding them. So when you bury your loved ones, when you trust these places with your dead, remember, they might not be letting go. They might be keeping them forever. And one day, when you're gone too, you'll join the collection. Your eyes will open in the photograph. You'll be aware. You'll be trapped. And you'll watch as more and more people join you on the walls, an endless gallery of the dead who can't quite die. I can see the building from my window now. It's calling me. The walls need me. I'm going to answer. Patricia Hayes' body was found in her car outside Whitman and Sons funeral home on November 17th. The official cause of death was heart failure. Her funeral was held 3 days later. It was a closed casket service. Her daughter requested the photographs from the service, but was told by the funeral director that, unfortunately, the camera had malfunctioned. No photographs were taken. No photographs that anyone will ever see.